won many championships, got great players, they develop them well, they recruit well. It's a very structured program, talking about a place that has won 7 national championships and 7 Big 12 championships, so they're used to winning. Always have been known for their defense. Brother Mike's back with them after being head coach at Arizona for a while, but you can tell that's made a difference. You can tell it's made a difference from a discipline standpoint, from an effort standpoint, from a scheme standpoint. They play with tremendous effort. They're very sound. They're very physical, very talented. All those things exist with their defense. Very talented in the back end. There's going to be one-on-one matchups everywhere. And not just like from a coverage standpoint, but from an upfront standpoint. I mean, they're going to be one-on-one matchups everywhere, and they're going to take pride in the fact that they're going to win those one-on-one matchups. Got 2 great safeties, tackle well. They lead their team in tackles, so very good on defense, just as talented on offense. Everything starts with their quarterbacks. Landry Jones seems like he's been there for 6 years. I remember him in high school. Came out of New Mexico, came to our camp, very talented, big kid, great arm, winner, and then they put in the bulldozer. That's their backup, who poses different problems. Is obviously a runner, will do wildcat stuff with them. Probably as talented group of receivers that we faced all year, possibly in the country. Kenny Stills has been there for a while and is good. They hit 2 home runs on 2 transfers. The Brown kid from Penn State and the Saunders kid from Fresno are special, and so they got tremendous depth and some capable running backs. So will be just as much of a challenge on offense. And then special teams, they're probably the top special teams unit in the Big 12, and it goes back to just having a lot of depth. They have, they got a whole bunch of people that could start anywhere in the country. So when you have that kind of depth, that makes them good on special teams. They got 2 good return guys, and take it very seriously. So it's a challenge that we're looking forward to. We encourage everyone to come support the team. Kids are playing hard. Guys are motivated. We're ready to get back to work today. Understand the frustrations that have existed, not only with the team, but coaches and players as well, frustrated, and we're going to get back to work. Thought our approach last week was good. Thought we had good work last week. Thought we traveled well. Thought we wanted to play. We just made too many simple mistakes that prevented us from winning the game. So we will get back to work, and looking forward to a good week of work and then a great atmosphere Saturday night in Morgantown. With that, take some questions.
Does it help having Oklahoma coming in? Obviously, like you said, a storied program, top 15 team right now. Do you feel like that helps kind of center the guys and focus them in more than if it was a team that's struggling?
Yeah, I mean, as many challenges that exist with Oklahoma, I don't see how it can help. I don't know. I mean, we came back to work Sunday, and we got back to work. I don't think anything was wrong with our approach. Our approach is going to be the same this week, and we're playing a challenging team, just like we faced the challenge last week. At Oklahoma State was a challenge, and we didn't play well enough to win. So we will get out there and practice hard and put them in a position to hopefully make some plays and catch some breaks to where we can win this week.
Have you ever been through a 4-game losing streak like this before in your career?
No, I haven't. Not a lot of fun for anybody. So, but the only way to get out of it is to work hard. So that's what our coaching staff's doing. We put in a long day Sunday. We put in a very long day yesterday, and we're putting in a very long day today to get out there and work hard. It's the only way you're going to get out of a losing streak. But we understand what the challenges are. We're realistic with them. We're recruiting hard. We're managing the team hard. We're in the weight room where we lift weights hard, not us personally, but the team. So there's only one way to get on track. There's only one way you can win in college football. I don't care what conference you're in. The only way you win is by hard work. So we're going to work hard.
You mentioned junior high mistakes after the game. You mentioned simple mistakes again today. How much of that can you coach, and how much of that is on the guys to know when to be in the right spot, know when to do the right thing? How do you coach simple, basic, fundamental stuff like that?
It's coaching. We got to coach it. What's sad about the special teams situation is obviously it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing last week, and I sat here a week and a half ago after TCU, and I thought we played really well on special teams, other than the execution of our snap and the execution of our kick, whether it was a kick or whether it was a punt. Well, and we worked hard on that all week, and if you look at the execution of our snap and our kick, we were really good. And our snap and our punt, we were excellent. Bittenkurt responded, probably had his best day that he's ever had here. And DePalma snapped and did his job and ran downfield with a tremendous amount of effort. With that said, everything else was bad. Everything that I said was good turned bad. So we went out Sunday night and we worked on fielding punts, and we worked on the Peter call, where Tavon does this and everybody runs away from the ball, which is what a Peter call is. The kickoff return when Quinn, who's special, their Oklahoma State's guy was special, but he put some stuff on the ball. Well, we have to make decisions whether we field it or we make decisions to get out of the way and let somebody else field it. We worked on Tavon in the back and stepping in the back of fielding a kick. It's a live ball, field it, and run forward. And the guys covering the punt, they get inside the 5 and they see the ball and they catch it. They down it before it goes into the end zone. So we worked on that. It's all elementary stuff. So we worked on it. We put them in those positions and we worked on it. Was it frustrating? Yes. Should we have to work on that? Yes. I guess we did. We kind of took some of that stuff for granted, which I'll take the responsibility for that.
The bounces were weird. Did you said Sharp put English on him, I guess? Did he really manipulate the ball?
He did, but maybe he's that good. But we tried to do it. And when we tried to squib it, it went like 10 yards. So we worked on that too. We worked on our kickers, putting their foot on the ball and then going downfield.
Given the problems you've had defensively, how much has that influenced the amount of times you've gone on 4th down and some of the situations that rather than playing field position football?
I looked at 7 times. Not much to answer your question. It's our job offensively to score. It's our job to keep going forward. If you look at all 7 of them, there is only one of them that I questioned, after the game, and that was the one in the 4th quarter that we were backed up, I think, on our 35 or 40, somewhere in there. Looking back at it, I kind of questioned that one a little bit, but I think at that point we were down 14. They had just had an 80-yard score, so made the decision to go for it. We didn't get it. Other than that, the other 6, I'd do it again. We're talking about again in that 35-yard line, which we scored with Hall, which that was 4th and 12 on the 35. I didn't feel good about the field goal because of the wind. Didn't feel good about the punt because you have a chance of only gaining 15 yards. So we took a chance and it worked out. And then a couple of the goal line ones. We got to, 3rd and short, 4th and short. We got to be able to get it. If we're going to be successful offensively, we got to be able to get those. Only kind of regret one of them. So I don't want to get in the habit of going for it on 4th down 5 to 7 times a game. Do not want to. And if you look back at the games, there's been a couple of times this year that we've done that. But over the course of the 20-some games since I've been here, that hasn't been the norm, and don't expect it to. But it's all the situations. The situations dictate that.
Now that you had a chance to go back and kind of look at it, can you evaluate your defense, what you guys did against Oklahoma State, and do you feel like that was a step in the right direction for those guys?
Yeah, still too many mental mistakes. More mental mistakes than physical mistakes. The plays that they hit us on, we were good against the run again, other than the reverse, okay, which was a mental error on 2 of our guys being in the wrong spots. They didn't read their keys and went in the wrong spots. But other than that, we did a pretty good job of stopping the run. the pass defense issues were, we didn't get any pressure on. I thought our pass rush was bad. Now, keep in mind, I do think Oklahoma State's offensive line is the best in the conference, and that's consistent over the years. Coach Wickline does a great job, and those kids are good. We didn't get to the quarterback. We didn't pass rush good. When we blitzed, we screwed up the blitzes half the time, and we didn't get there, which put our DBs in some bad situations. So what looks bad on the back end could have been prevented with doing things right on the front end. They work hand in hand. So, their physical stuff, they, didn't have a ton of missed tackles, played hard, just too many mental mistakes and not being where they needed to be 100% of the time. You got to be there 100% of the time if you want to play good defense. It's got to be all the time. You can't say we played good defense for the exception of 7 or 8 snaps, which they scored on. Right? So we got to play like that all the time. We're having a hard time getting through to our guys, which is coaching. That we got to play like that all the time. That's the challenge.
Danny, your run game was pretty good in the first part of the season. Statistically, hasn't been as good lately. Is that a big issue offensively for you guys? Do you have to be better there to be effective?
It's a huge issue. And we're going to work hard on it this week. We did a poor job of establishing the line of scrimmage. Look at all our 3rd and shorts. We got no push. We got none. I mean, we were garbage on 3rd and short, 4th and short when we handed the ball off. It's a combination of just not controlling the line of scrimmage up front and not having good enough running backs to be able to get the yards that we need. So you blame it on what you want to. Sean's hurt. It's not what people want to hear, but he's hurt. That's why he's not playing. Destin's still 6 months out from being where he was last year, which means we put it in the hands of Andrew Bowie, who's, he's averaging almost 5 yards a rush, but if you give it to him 20 sometimes a game, he's going to wear down. He's not that type of guy that can handle that many carries. So we're working extremely hard to recruit about 5 or 6 running backs that can come in here and give us help. And until that happens, it is what it is.
Can Tavon help you there? You got him in the backfield a couple times, ran arounds with him more than recently. Can he fix it maybe? Not
Well, I mean, you can't, I'd sure like to. I wish we could clone him and put 3 of them out there. But we obviously have felt like he is a pretty good inside receiver that we need to continue. And it's always been the thing, what can we do to get the ball in his hands? And you want to get it into his hands as much as you possibly can. But with that said, his trade's been being an inside receiver for 4 years now. So, we'll continue to try to come up with creative ways to get him the ball because he's as dynamic as there is in college football when it comes to him having the ball in his hands.
Did it seem to you last week that Oklahoma almost seeded the run?
Not last week. It's every week. They do the same thing every time. They do the same thing every time. They're gonna play a 4-1 or a 4-2 front. Their safeties are their fill guys. And if you remember what Baylor does, Baylor spreads you all over. They go from way out there to way out there, and so they're going to line up like that, which means they're going to rely on those people in the box and those 2 safeties that come down to stop the run. There's going to be people in space. Baylor does as good a job as anybody in the country of putting people in space. I feel like we do a pretty good job of putting people in space. And then once those guys are in space, it's about making some people miss. And Baylor did a pretty good job of making some guys miss.
Part of what Oklahoma does too is play straight up from the secondary.
Correct.
Really all season.
Correct.
Is that encouraging to you simply because everybody seems to have, I don't want to say a formula for stopping, but everybody's been stopping lately the same way?
Yes, this poses different challenges. It poses different challenges. I can assure you it poses different challenges. there's one-on-one matchups. I mean, are our guys gonna be good enough to win those one-on-one matchups? I mean, we'll see Saturday night. And it's not just, you think of a one-on-one matchup, you're not just looking at like one receiver having to beat one DB. I mean, you're looking at four receivers, potentially a running back that have to win those matchups, and then you got two safeties that do what they want to. You know, they still got help over the top. And then there's four people up front, and then they add the backer, which is a thick guy up front. So there's five people, well, there's five linemen, five people, they gotta win that one-on-one matchup too. So it boils down to they think they got better players than who they play, which is why they're pretty good at that scheme, because they got pretty good players.
This is probably not the right time to ask this question, being in a 4-game losing streak. But you've got two guys that are semifinalists for the Litnikoff Award. You've coached receivers that won that award. How do these guys stack up with them, and what, you know, I don't want to ask you to choose between the two of them, so just generally.
Well, I'd choose Stedman last week. He had a better game. I'd choose Taven the week before that because he had a better game. They're all different. I mean, these two guys are completely different than the guys that have won it. You know, and a couple of guys that have been fortunate to coach that are in the NFL get by with just sheer will, just want to. You know, so these guys are completely different. They're not like, these two guys are not like people I've had. They're quicker. They're skilled. They're different.
You're saying,
We rely on them a lot.
oh,
We rely on them a lot.
you're saying more talented, are you? I mean, just pure
Well,
physical
no, I'm not
talent?
saying that. I mean, you know, some of the guys I've had are, you know, you talk about some two-time Litnikoff winners, that's pretty special. There's only been two people that have done it. And those guys are gonna play for a long time, you know, and then there's a couple other guys that didn't win it that, you know, are exactly what you want, just from an effort and execution and grit. So these guys are just so much different than that, you know, so. We target them a lot. They need to have the ball in their hands a lot, and there's a reason for that.
Is Pat Miller still with you guys? Is there any indication that that might not be the case this weekend?
Nope. Hope he gets out there and practices hard, gets better. We need him and a lot of other people to get better. So hopefully they take the coaching and get better.
Can you speak to some of the receivers that you had kind of get some plays last week that, you know, obviously aren't normally in the mix?
Yeah, effort, really good. Just what I'm talking about as far as what needs to happen on every position involved is guys that it means a whole lot to, which, you know, was really proud of how you got to take a guy like Connor and Ryan and Cody Clay, who's been a fullback for the last 7 or 8 weeks, and we lined him up out at receiver, and he ran routes, and I don't think he got targeted ever, which probably ought to target him because he's a big body, but just sheer effort, grit, want to. It means a lot to them. You know, those were 3 of the most disappointed kids in our locker room after the game. You know, we need more of that. We need more of that to exist. I was proud of how they did that.
Is there anyone else you're kind of like keying in on this week to kind of do that? Obviously, a little bit of a depth problem there now.
That receiver?
Yeah.
I can't manufacture new people. That's what we got.
Right.
Is there a temptation, I mean, I know it's really late in the season, but guys that are currently redshirting or
There's not many of them.
there aren't many of them, but is there any temptation to, would you ever consider it at this point, or are the guys who haven't played yet, they're not playing?
It'd be pretty hard at this point. There's just not many of them. I mean, if they would have been ready, then they would have gotten pulled a couple weeks ago.
Paul Millard, I mean, the kind of sample size we've seen of him in games is obviously pretty limited. What, you know, him and his future, I mean, when you see him out in the game compared to what you see at practice, I guess, can you explain his potential at that position, or?
Yeah, it's kind of what you see in practice too. He gets out there, he throws an interception or a touchdown. We need a little bit of consistency to happen for him to be a productive football player. I was proud of how he went in there. He didn't bat an eye. He ran in there and called the play, didn't flinch. He took the snap, he worked the pocket, and he threw a great pass. And then the second time he went in there, he panicked and he threw it right to them, which they dropped, luckily. So he's doing good. I mean, it's going to be a good battle between him and Ford and whoever else we bring in here. I mean, that decision won't be made for quite some time. A lot needs to happen for us to figure that out.
Dana, you're second inside guy. You had Tyler last year. Willie and Deb were kind of thick guys, stout guys. How much do you need that bigger body, whether it's a smaller guy who's just kind of thick or a bigger guy like a Cody or even maybe like a Will Johnson, just to be a different look, different figure out there?
It helps on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps on the inside. Texas Tech's inside guy, 22, who hasn't played since we played him, unfortunately. Because we watched Texas Tech and OU's defense. I studied that a lot this week. And he's, holy moly, I mean, that guy just destroys people. So the physical presence on the inside is necessary. We don't have that physical presence on the inside. That's you got Tavon and Squirt, and those guys are, they run circles around people, but they don't necessarily run right into people. Having Cody at that spot last week did us some good. He sprung Tavon for a touchdown. He blocked well on the perimeter, probably blocked better on the perimeter than he did in the backfield. So having those guys, I think, is important. Yes, Connor brings some toughness like that to the inside. He'll get in there and give it everything that he's got. He'll run in there and stick his hat on somebody and fight for everything that he's worth. So yeah, that type of guy is important. But you need those type of guys that can go score too. Sure. That's when you got something. That's when you got the Wes Walker type, the Danny Amendola type that can stick their nose in there and be gritty, and then also be able to make a guy miss and go score.
Those guys you mentioned, they're not the biggest guys, though. So from what you're saying, it's not size that does it. It's the physicality of the player.
It's grit. It's toughness. It's effort.
I know you've talked a little bit about going after some junior college guys looking forward. How do you evaluate that in the sense of, obviously some of them are there for, size reasons or grades reasons, that kind of thing. Is there a trick to kind of determining who's going to be a fit for your program?
Yeah, it's just evaluating. We've sent coaches all over the country to go to schools to ask questions, to get transcripts, to watch practice or watch games, identify your needs, and then go recruit them. Everybody in the country's got needs. I can assure you that. So, you do it just like any other high school. Just like you go recruit high school guys. It's just all evaluations and trying to figure out what your needs are and then identifying if they fit the needs or not. Which is a little easier said than done.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you guys.